This is trophy gold from the belly of the beast, and maybe some other things by the time the session's done. Let's do a quick recap like we do. If everybody wants to take a look at the character sheet, I'm very interested in how close you are to your burdens. You should also be interested in this because the incursion is almost over. And I mean that. It's like really close to being over. So let's just go down the line though with conditions and everything else as well. Scum.
I have 3 gold out of 4 to meet my burdens. I have 1 hunt token and I am 3 ruin.
Fabulous, thank you. Let's go over to Corkaluk.
All right, I have 4 gold, which meets my burdens exactly. I have 2 hunt tokens and a ruin of 3.
Fabulous.
Did you want conditions also?
Yeah, well, yours is no, I don't need yours. I know yours well.
Yeah, the most recent one is horrified by the conditions of the sailors.
Yeah, like maybe like the new ones is good. Let's go to Osto.
I currently have 2 gold worth of things to sell, which is a little short of my burdens of 6, but it's fine. I'll be fine. I have a ruin of 4, and I am currently nauseated and horrified.
You can always sell Neral's bestiary if you have to. Right?
That's my emergency funds.
Exactly. Ethelinda.
I've got 5 gold, 0 tokens, 4 ruin. I'm inhabited, horrified, and 5 burdens.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so the last thing we saw, you discovered the wreck of this ship, the Copernica. The Copernica, the injury to the Ballandrakier is why it's infected, right? And you also discovered a few other things, principally that Mr. Wayland Yutani Whittle is very, very interested in the fact that so the Ballandrakier is pregnant. It's gravid with eggs, in his words. And he is a part of some sort of cult or movement that wants to essentially end the world by all of these, by a new era of Ballandrakier being born into the world and destroying everything because they're so titanic and apparently they have all kinds of magical and mystical powers. And so that's a thing. And then, but you were at the Copernica, you discovered you finished that set goal, which was basically just to figure out like what happened to the Copernica. And you principally did that because the captain of the Copernica, who is in a sort of fugue state, fused to a chair, she came alive, kind of said what happened. And then she was overtaken by this sort of hive mind Ballandrakier sentience that basically said, okay, time's up. We're like, it's all over now. And then the space started to be flooded quite rapidly with seawater. And Ethelinda, you're aware of this first. And I think the real danger here is, it's flooding, it's coming in pretty fast. You'll probably be able to just ride it out wherever it takes you. But the folks who are inside the Copernica, they could be like trapped in the Copernica and drowned, right? So that could be a bit of an issue. So I think I just want to go with like Ethelinda and finding out like, what do you do right now?
I'm too horrified to enter, but is it possible to project
I think
a mirage?
in this moment you can get past that if you want. This feels more immediate and necessary if you want to enter to do that.
You also have a bell I gave you.
That's true.
A bell. Oh yeah. I like that too. I think I start wailing on the bell in a panicked frenzy.
Indeed. I like this as a risk roll. I think what could go wrong here is fairly obvious. Like 1 or more of you drowns, which would not be great. Anybody else have any thoughts on failure here?
The immune system, those sort of centipede-like beings, do not like this noise internally.
I was thinking the Ballandrakier itself responds to the bell somehow.
Oh, interesting. That could be a great devil's bargain as well.
This is called In the Belly of the Beast, right?
It is indeed.
I'm thinking perhaps the siren hears the call of the bell.
Oh, that would be intriguing, wouldn't it? Except, well, it'd be a different siren, maybe. I don't know. It could be the same siren. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in a more monstrous Gossamer Void form. Who knows? I like that as a devil's bargain also. Let's talk about your dice. I think the bell is sufficient for the first light die. Devil's bargains, I think any of those few things that were mentioned earlier would be great. I don't think I have anything to add, but if somebody wants to formally offer those things, by all means.
You're going to lose the bell one way or the other?
That feels pretty low stakes, but I suppose if you're gonna take that one.
Well, that bell's worth a gold, so
that's
that
fair.
should be
Yeah,
hard.
that's a fair point. Yeah. Any other offers? Are we putting the siren on the table or the?
Yeah, I mean the siren thing could be a devil's bargain if Fraser wants it.
I like the Ballandrake responding to the bell as well as a devil's bargain too.
Yeah.
I've got a long range devil's bargain. The harmonic frequency of this bell matches the harmonic frequency of the eggshells that I am assuming we're going to encounter down the road, and they're vibrating, ready to just pop.
I like the siren being back on the table.
Very good. That would be wild. I'll have to really think about that, but it's good for now. I'm going to say dark dies on the table because you're probably having to go out of your way to help them, right? So you're kind of fundamentally risking your body here.
Right. So it'll be risk 2-1, right?
Correct.
5 and 4 on the dark die.
Okay, so 5 light. It's a good result. Complication. I'll make the complication fairly. Kind of piggybacking off Drew's idea, I'll make the complication fairly easy to manage. You just lose the bell. So.
I want to push my luck because that meets my burdens.
Very good. Go ahead and add a dark die.
Ha! 6 and a 5.
The 6 is light. Awesome. So go ahead and narrate your success. Yeah, full success. You get everybody out of there safely.
Okay. So I have to pull myself away from this hand that I've been trying to soothe. And I see the water rapidly rising, and there is some metal support or something that's running through the side of it. And I strike the bell onto that, and it sort of reverberates in the inside. And I keep doing it in such a frantic way that it makes it clear that it is not a regular occurrence. And yeah, I start wailing on it. My goal is to make it so annoying that these people come to their senses and must act.
Fabulous. You managed to get out of the hull of the ship in time for the water to basically like kind of sweep you up and carry you away. You can't resist the current. You're not drowned though because it doesn't reach the top of the cavern, but it goes quite a lot, and it's just basically pulling you through to somewhere. And that lasts for a few moments. Mr. Whittle is not doing a good job of staying above water. And Osto, a few times, he like reaches out for your help, like to help him, like not drown. Do you let him drown or do you save him?
I think Yeah, Osto grabs his arm and just kind of swings him up onto his back and says, "We're not done with you, though."
He says, thank you. When the end is nigh, I'll make sure we spare you.
Trust me, the end is nigh.
And you are all being rushed away to the next set. The next set is called the Gilded Beyond. And the set goal is quite simply to get out alive. You are washed into a large cavern, the largest yet. Every surface is occupied by golden, human-sized orbs, tended to by skittering immune bodies and creatures you have not yet seen. These sort of quadrupeds with no discernible head, but with a tail and two long, strong arms. And so you see these creatures tending to these like large golden orbs. As the water touches the eggs, they begin to burst open, and these eel-like spawn, which are each about the size of like a baby goat, they like starts to wriggle out of the eggs. The spawn have closed eyes, black orbs under translucent skin, and curiously small claws on the edges of their fins to pull themselves across the ground. And as they spill out, they begin burrowing in every direction into the flesh of their mother and presumably out of her body. The cavern shakes and begins to collapse all around. And to make matters even more interesting, sirens burst up out of the water and begin slaughtering the eggs. They are these sort of half octopoid people, sort of monstrously beautiful on top and big octopoid bodies below, fish heads, but their bodies, their upper torsos are very like smooth and I don't know, it's disgusting. Don't think about them sexually, it's really gross. And they are just leaping up out of the water, and they're using their claws to just rend the orbs. This is causing the immune bodies and these four-legged sort of nursemaid creatures to like fight back. It's a big fucking chaotic scrum, and you all are being gradually washed into the middle of it. I will say, does somebody have appraisal or a similar skill? I will tell you obliquely that getting a hold of one of these spawn would be very valuable indeed. If you had appraisal, I'd tell you how much.
Artifacts is as close as I've got.
No, it's not good enough. But I'll tell you just generally, it would be valuable. Going around the table, what's everyone doing? So just to give you the quick rundown. Spawn burrowing holes into the mother to escape. Nursemaids and immune bodies battling sirens that are here to like destroy the eggs, apparently. You all being washed into the middle of it. No apparent obvious way of egress, unless you come up with something interesting. Going around the table, Scum.
Scum would be pulling out his tent from his backpack because he just had the idea of using the tent as a sort of net in which he could trap one of the spawn by just cutting a hole and grabbing the sides of the tent. You could use the spawn to guide him through the Balendrakir. And he's, I think, just reaching out to Corcoran, help me, just grab hold of this side of the thing, and we'll use this thing to get out of the thing.
Corcoran?
I can do one better than your tent. I have a fishing net filled with glowing jelly nettlefish. I'm just
very good.
Fling those glowing jelly nettlefish out into the cavern for better illumination and toss the end of my net to Scum.
Love all that. What are you going to be doing at the Linda?
Can I use Mirage to disguise us as innocuous things so that we are not attacked?
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I like that as a sort of precursor thing. I'm going to actually say no, though, and the reason why I'm going to deny it is because of the you're essentially like barely not drowning, and I don't think rituals would be easy to do. So I like your thought, but I'm going to say no to that. What else would you be doing in that case?
I'll try to get a larger piece of debris if a chunk of the ship has fallen, some sort of thing where we can all, get on some kind of footing.
Got it. Oh, like just to like do a Jack and Rose thing and not drown or whatever. Got it. Maybe more Rose than Jack, but
yeah, hopefully.
Good. Asta, what would you be doing?
Could I don't have my rope anymore, but could I use the grappling hook to try and hook one of the spawn?
I like that. I feel like hooking the spawn is like the thing we're the three of you at least are trying to do. And I like this as someone principally taking the role and then someone else, maybe two other people doing a help roll to actually nab it and grab it, if that sounds good, just to handle it all in one die roll. Ethelinda, I like your idea just fictionally. I don't think I need a roll there. So this is all good. I'm going to let Scum do the roll with help from Osto and Korkaluk if needed. What could go wrong?
In the wild melee with grappling hooks and nets swinging, someone else gets hooked or nabbed.
Yeah. I think that probably what could go wrong is the sirens don't want these things to escape and will kill it before you, like, maybe you catch it, but they kill it. So
Yeah, it seems like the antibodies would be trying to protect them as well.
Well, the nursemaid creatures that are like kind of tending to the orbs, principally, they would also be very, very like not happy about this. That may happen no matter what, just FYI. So but yeah,
everyone's mad.
Yeah, any other thoughts on what could go wrong? It all feels pretty
I
good.
thought that maybe these things are stronger than we realize, and even though netted, it can burrow down into the flesh and kind of haul us along with it.
I think that's what Scum had in mind. I think that was the plan.
So that's our exit path.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, there are other holes you could just dive down into anyway, just because of the other ones that are burrowing down. But yeah, Scum at least is probably small enough for that to actually happen, right? Yeah, Osto may be a little trickier, but in any case, this all feels pretty good. Dice, what do you think? Well, I think there's enough equipment in place, so that's a good for the light die. Devil's Bargain. I'm gonna say no matter what, like you've got to cope with a nursemaid no matter what. That's my offer.
I'm trying to think of a devil's bargain that involves Mr. Whittle, but what's he up to at this moment?
I think
Devil's
he is
Bargain.
busy trying not to drown, but he's probably also like Osto can hear him on his back, like kind of like getting increasingly excited about the possibility of the eggs escaping. He already feels like this is a victory because many of them have escaped at this point. So.
Devil's Bargain, Mr. Whittle stays with us and doesn't drown in here.
Mr. Whittle imprints on you.
I have to reject that one.
I'm not sure I got that. What do you mean by that?
Oh, like Mr. Whittle, like is, I guess, to Scum apparently, like very like obsessed with you, basically.
I'm thinking I'd go with your idea, Jason. That no matter what, the immune body is just getting an interest in us.
Yeah, that feels good to me. Take a dark die as well, so 2-1.
Six light.
Hey, that's great. Fictional help is great. Don't need the help dice though. Go ahead and describe first how you wrangle one of these things. I think that's the most important thing right here. I'll follow up with the monster.
Well, I think it'd be easier if the Osto and Korkuluk and Scum just coordinate their efforts in order to get one of the things. So maybe there's some swimming around trying to find the best one to latch onto. But once they spot it, just go for it as best as they can and tangle it up in the nest, managing to just get it trapped, but not so much that it impedes its movement.
Nice. And one of these four-legged creatures just leaps down in front of you, like they do not tolerate anyone or anything impeding the spawn's movement in any way. And so this thing, just to remind you, it has like kind of 4 legs and like a torso and kind of centaur-like a little bit, and then these 2 long arms, but no head. It's just like shoulders and clavicle. And it's kind of like a milky white color, very similar to the centipedes. And it's just ready to combat. This thing has endurance 11, and everyone say how you're if you're doing the combat, you don't have to. Like Ethelinda, you could be scrabbling away somewhere else if you want. But if you're doing the combat, say how you are vulnerable and roll your weak point, please.
Can we just opt out of combat, or just?
Can you opt out of combat? If you want to just try to escape and not fight it, it's a risk roll. Yeah.
But I was thinking that perhaps, I don't know if conditions can be used as the same as skills or found equipment, because Scum has bad and dark infection. I was thinking that maybe it can sort of shield him from the...
Oh, like they don't know what you are? Oh, that's pretty interesting. That's an interesting idea. I like it as the... I like it. It's good.
Could I be helping with that role by trying
I'm
to
still
get
deciding
us?
whether I think it's a role now.
Oh.
Because I like what Scum has proposed here, like because Scum has a Balandark infection that maybe the nursemaid creature doesn't recognize Scum as something hostile, right? Like maybe considers it part of the system, which would be an intriguing idea. I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's good. Let's go with that. So I think Scum escaping down a hole with the netted spawn is good. I'll take it. And what about the rest of you, though? How are you getting out of there?
Right. Are we dodging the ire of this beast, or is it?
You all, it doesn't really recognize you all because Scum is the one that has hold of it, right? Like it just ignores you. Like you're just like detritus, right? So
Can I have can I look for like a piece of debris that would be like the like, did that boat have any life rafts, for instance, or anything like that?
Like you just want to make something to basically ride this out. Is that the idea? Like
for everybody to get into.
Yeah, I'm into that. Let's do it as risk roll. Like you find like enough of the like pieces of the Copernica, say that you can kind of grab onto. Maybe you do even see such a thing on the risk roll is to just like safely board it and be washed out somewhere, right? Sure. I think that's good. Risk roll stakes are obvious. What could go wrong?
We drowned.
I think that's the most obvious thing, but yeah, sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer.
There's a question I'm kind of lost on here. Are we trying to squeeze through like fleshy tubes that these creatures have burrowed to escape, or are we trying to sort of float out on a watery passage?
Just trying to float out. Yeah, like if this thing is like inhaled water, and presumably it'll exhale it at some point, or maybe it won't. Maybe it's sinking, but you might be able to like get out through a wound or something, right? Or its digestive system or something else. But
We're going with the flow.
indeed.
I'm sorry, I kind of lost the tempo here. Can you remind me what you're doing, Fraser?
Just, I think trying to get us out of here on debris and navigate out and everything.
Might be more devil's bargain, but because Ethelinda doesn't have enough going on, maybe inhaling a bit of the water or like the amniotic fluid makes a link between Ethelinda and the Balindrakir.
I think it's a great devil's bargain. I'm gonna go with fail condition drown. I think that's the most obvious thing. Why don't we move on to dice? I think you're using the environment by using this debris, so I'll give you the light die there. If you're cool with it, Drew, I like that as a devil's bargain. I think that's great. Other devil's bargains, you have to contend with a siren on the way out.
My idea was with the sirens too. I was thinking that during the escape, Ethelinda gets, I don't know, nicked by some piece of debris, and your blood gets out in the water, and it just tells the sirens that you're the one who trapped their brother in the Rhine Palace.
Ongoing problem.
I don't have anything better than those.
You got 3 offers.
Definitely.
Short-term siren, long-term siren, and attune with the Balindrakir.
I like the tuning, and I like the long-term siren. I like the long-term siren thing more. I think I'm always about these sirens, I guess. Apparently. So yeah, I like the idea of them somehow learning that I've trapped or killed their kin or something like that. Like maybe they read my memories from my blood or whatever's happening.
I love all that. And take a dark die as well. So 2 light, 1 dark, go for it. And then if you need help, you can take help as well from someone. If someone describes it. Oh, don't need it though. That is the first and only roll you will make. Your ruin goes up, probably from the injury, but you all escape. Anybody who wants to escape with Ethelinda at least escapes. Go ahead and give us the whole conclusion here.
Yeah, so I think I guess if we're all on this floating debris,
Scum is not, everybody else is though.
or everybody else, yeah. What I'd like, just fictional, is maybe I have like stars in my eyes and I use like a little bit of prophecy action going on, and I'm sort of like seeing all these different paths and sort of telling us which directions to take, maybe steering with like a little piece of wood or something like that. And I like the idea of us making our way to like this chamber where it's like spinning down and down and down into a funnel, but it ends up being the blowhole place where it blows us out of the top or the side or something. Maybe just to be contrarian, we're blown out of the side instead of the top. This is not a whale. And yeah, and then we sort of just like let the driftwood pop us like a cork back up on the surface.
Nice. No matter how you get back to the surface, you will see an incredible sight. It is nighttime, and the sea around you is filled with hatchlings. The hatchlings are golden, glittering. They're burrowed out of their mother and loosed upon the world. The Chimera, the ship that you came in on, seems silent, and once you get back on the Chimera, you'll discover that the crew has all gathered below decks, where one of the nursemaid creatures The captain of the Chimera and several recently hooked hatchlings lie dead beside each other. But you all have a live hatchling, and that makes it a pretty decent catch for the Chimera and you all. So much so that by the time you're all able to find a buyer for this thing, it's impractical to keep it. Sorry, scum. But by the time you find a buyer for this thing, your group's cut will be 10 gold, which you can divide amongst yourselves as you wish. And the Balindrakir itself is sinking. It sinks, it's full of holes, and it's died in the act of releasing its offspring. I'm curious, just because you'll get to listen to Mr. Whittle's triumphant ranting for a good portion of the journey home. I'm curious, like, it'll take some time for these spawn to grow into full-size Balindrakir. Honestly, maybe not even within your lifetimes. But I wonder how you react. Like, how do you feel about being implicated, even if indirectly, in this potential apocalyptic scenario? Like, do you tell people? Do you like spread the word? Do you do something? Do you try to enact some long-term plan? What about Mr. Whittle? I mean, I'm just curious. I want to get everyone's thoughts on, like, or do you just leave it be and just say it's none of your business?
I want to know, does the crew of the Chimera and its captain, do they know about
Captain's
this?
dead, but yeah, the captain died along in the battle with the nursemaids and the spawn that got to the outside. But sorry, what was your question?
Do the crew of the Chimera know? Are they members of this cult? Do they know about this cult?
Oh, what a good question.
Or is Whittle secret?
No, this is just Mr. Whittle. Mr. Whittle came here on false pretenses. He came there claiming to be an expert on the geological formations inside the Balindrakir, but he came there for a different reason.
So if Whittle doesn't expose himself to the crew, in a way we have nothing to defend. And if anybody is kind of raising a question, I would posit that the Balindrakir roamed the earth before and all was fine, and that we've sort of saved the last one from extinction. Maybe have restored an ecosystem. If anything, we've done more help than harm.
And Whittle might be wrong too, right? Like, there's no guarantee that this is going to come to pass, right?
And maybe it's the ravings of a madman. I think at least that's what Scum thinks. It's just so infuriated with the man and just doesn't pay attention to what he's saying anymore. It's just dismissing it as the ravings of a fool.
My first thought after all of that was that maybe it's too meta, but I was thinking Ethelinda would probably write a poem about it since she's a grief-stricken poet. And then at a meta question for that, I was like, is this monetizable, Jason?
I wanted to know, like, if basically, can we sell Whittle out to someone else? Can we turn him into the authorities for a reward? Or
I like this as an idea. That's good. There might even be an opportunity to do this. I do like the idea of Whittle being an ongoing concern. Let me think on that. I like it, though. We'll maybe revisit it. Maybe put it on a little sheet, which I did look at recently, by the way. Any other thoughts on the conclusion here?
I think Osto's going to largely feel like this was going to happen. They didn't make the eggs pop. They didn't do anything directly.
It's true.
So it doesn't feel particularly responsible. But I think also feeling attuned to beasts in general. I think he's okay with them not becoming extinct.
Very good.
And I'm a little touched in the sense that I shared breath with a bear and that's gone so well. I was within the lungs of a Ballandrake.
Yes, exactly. I know.
So if anything else, I kind of wish them all well.
Yes. Very well then. Balin of the drowning sea, Drakir the serpent came to me and told me of the crashing waves that bore me far from home. Black the night and cold the rain, I washed my hands in blue blood's vein, for never will I see again the sunlight or my home. And so concludes From the Belly of the Beast. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do Hearthfire. Okay, we're back. Hearthfire. You know how this works. I'm going to go around the table in turn, and you'll each get a chance to do one Hearthfire thing, and we'll just keep going until everyone's done. I'm going to go in reverse order of the sheet. And first of all, I just want to confirm that everyone is able to meet their burdens. If you're able to meet your burdens, do so now. Like clear the treasures and meet them. Also, have you decided how to divide up the treasure of the spawn?
Yeah, we got the 10 gold, and Osto, I think you're not. Drew, I think Osto is not meeting burdens, right?
Not currently. I would need 4 to not have to sell my bestiary.
Yeah, and I feel like holding on to the bestiary is wise.
It's very helpful. This is true. It's been probably the single most helpful artifact you all have had.
Yeah. So I would be happy to forego, a chunk of the 10 gold to maintain that artifact. I don't know how everybody else feels.
I'm happy to get just 2 gold out of it, which would be like 4 for Drew and 2 for each one of us left. And I'm fine with. I'd be fine with that.
Sure.
Thank you.
So that's burdens met for Osto. Everybody else meet their burdens?
Yeah, met my burdens, and Osto, I'll partition my 2 gold so you get a gold, so we're not walking away completely empty-handed. So I'll take 1, you take 1.
So you got 1 to spend.
Thanks very much.
And if everybody wants to go ahead and unmark your armor as well, you can do that. You get to do that for free. Well, not for free, it's your burdens, but unmark your armor. And now we'll go to do Hearthfire options. So Ethelinda, how much gold do you have left, and what are you going to do with it?
I had my burdens completely met by myself, and then so I got the 2 from the gold there. So I've got 2 extra, and I think I'll probably need to use it for healing.
Yeah, anyway. You get to. Do you have household? You have household, right?
I do.
Yeah, you get to lower your rune by 1 straight away, and then also clear your conditions. You can keep them if you wish, but you're entitled to clear them. And whenever you do the household, if I remember correctly, there's something we have to do. Household. Each time thereafter, write down a memento you kept from the incursion. So something you kept from the Ballandrake here.
Oh, that the remainder of the vial of the Ballandrake blood.
Okay,
There's
nice.
Not enough to use or anything like that, but just the actual vial I think I keep.
Yeah, I think it never coagulates. It always stays like fresh and blue and gold flecked. You can put that in your mementos. Let's keep going down the line to Osto.
For my memento, I cleared out nauseated and horrified, kept the others. I think maybe something from the ship that they were on with the name on it, the Chimera. So like maybe a piece of stationery, something small. Just.
What about like a little like model of the Chimera? I think that'd be fun.
That sounds good.
Whether you got it from the ship or had it made, or maybe made it yourself, who knows? But you can. That sounds good to me. Lovely, Corklock.
I'm also healing up some conditions of horrified, and was going to go with the relic from the ship. Also, I was thinking kind of an encrusted sextant, just kind of a little shiny piece of brass sticking out from a bunch of gore.
From the Copernica or the Chimera?
From the Copernica.
From the Copernica. Okay. Nice. Sounds good to me. And Scum.
Do you mind if I just narrate a small scene?
Sure, please do.
Because Scum will be just coming home to his wife and 2 sons, just peck them on the cheeks, give the boys a hearty pat on the head, and everyone will gather around the fire in the evening to hear Daddy tell his tale. And at first, everything seems very normal, and Scum even is downright smiley and happy to be back home. But after putting the kids to bed and going down to his workshop to count his riches, he just happens to find a few sailors' coins back, just some of the coins that he found in the Copernica. And there's like this immense weight of guilt that just weighs him down real low, and prevents him from getting any restful sleep that night. And so that the memento would be the Ceres coins.
That's great. Thank you. Swinging back around at the Linda. Anything else you want to do for Hearthfire?
Yeah, I'll do a scene for another healing.
Okay, which one are you doing?
The beautiful place, I
Okay.
think. And I'd like to make it the Starseer Tower. And I think it's like when you walk up the stairs, which I'm sure are quite immense to get up there, at nighttime, there's like sort of a transparent substance that's used near the top so that it feels like you're walking like amongst the stars and stuff like that. And at the very center, at the top, there's like a golden ring in which she sort of like sits down and meditates and prays, and is doing like all these calculations and stuff like that on the ground. And it's a similar sort of substance as with her household at the top, where all those students were like writing and drawing on all that kind of stuff.
Nice. I love it. Mark that off and lower your ruin by 1. Let's go over to Osto.
I'll do a horde, and can I narrate a flashback showing how I secretly betrayed the other treasure hunters?
You may, yes. You may.
I think during the course of their stay in the Balindrakir, I think there were more opportunities for Mr. Whittle to have gotten himself in trouble or killed, and Osto would go out of his way to make sure that he was okay, even after they knew he was probably with this cult.
Very good. How interesting, this strange new relationship with Mr. Whittle. I like it.
Are you secretly a member of that cult?
I mean, Osto seemed the least bothered by all the the spawns going out into the ocean. Good. I love it. Corkaluk.
Remind me, we need to spend a gold to open up a slot in the backpack, right?
You do, yes.
And I think my 60 feet of rope was left behind inside the Balindrakir.
I think it was, yes. Yeah, those are gone.
Yeah. So, goodness, do I need to narrate anything, or just basically go to the store and spend some money?
So we'll just scroll down to that part where it says equipment, and it says spend 1 gold in town to open crossed out slots in your backpack. The first time you do so, name the shopkeeper and work with the GM, that's me, to define the shopkeeper's secret. The secret can be anything. A magical item they have in their possession, a lucrative opportunity they're aware of, an estranged family member they want to find, so long as it's something you might be interested in. And then just write the secret down.
All right, let us do this. Let's name the shopkeeper Gregor.
What is Gregor's secret, do you think?
Do I think? Ooh.
I mean, I'll offer my thoughts after you say, I guess, but.
This is in Fort Duran, yes? So.
Yes.
got a vague idea to try and tie it back to the crew of the Chimera.
I like that.
Perhaps, well, I don't know if this gives good role-playing future, but perhaps he somehow worked to sabotage that captain to make sure that captain met their fate on that voyage.
Oh, interesting. So
Bribe the crew
Gregor.
members to assassinate that person. Or make
Oh,
sure
good. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that could be. That's fun. Write down his name. Editorialize that however you want under the shopkeeper's secret part, and it's something I'll think about for the future. Fabulous. And then open your slot, of course, as well, which sounds fucking horrible. Scum.
I see there's this option about what you just did with the Brian equipment. Is there an option to add armor or weapons?
As long as you take a burden, you can do it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I think just Scum would be spending some of his time crafting himself a wooden armor, putting his carpenter skills to use.
Nice. You can note that down and just increase your burdens by 1. Swinging back to Ethelinda. Anything else you want to do, Ethelinda?
I'm not sure where or if this is possible, but is it possible for her to write the poem about what has happened?
Yeah, but what? I guess. I mean,
I don't know where it falls mechanically.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, what would you hope to accomplish by it? I suppose is the question. What were you hoping would the effect be?
Sort
like
of.
It could be a training, maybe. Like if you got a skill in poetry or something, but.
And then that would increase the burden, though,
increase
right?
your burdens, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My burdens are pretty high. I was hoping just to make more gold, basically, in writing it and then selling it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, interesting. I think if you want to, this is an interesting idea. Let me think on it, because I think what could be interesting here is if you keep adding to the poem, and then once it's done, then we see how it's received by the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like
it's an epic
Ethelinda's
poem
Odyssey.
thing. Yeah, super precisely. Yeah.
Maybe the poem is tied to the Centennial puzzle in some way.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. I like that a lot. And then maybe that would increase your hoard or whatever, like once you finish it. Sure. Your burden say 0. That can't be right.
Oh yeah. 2. It was 5.
Okay.
And then I have 2 gold, but I did the healing scene already, so that means that's over, right?
You get to spend a gold to just take the last ruin down if you want. So.
Oh, okay. Then I'll do that then.
Okay. I'm curious how you're at 5 though, because you've got 1, 2 plus 1. Where's the other 2 burdens coming from? Oh, you're training. You had a training, don't you?
Yeah, household and 1 training.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Osto, anything else you want to do with Hearthfire?
I think I'm all out.
Corkluck, any more Hearthfire?
2 questions. I've got a Reef Maker Good Luck Charm.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably just hold on to it, but is it a thing that's worth cashing out?
Well, I think it has the intrinsic value. It's not worth gold, but you might be able to, if you could work up a cool thing to do with it in the fiction for a die roll or something, I'm here for it. So.
And then similarly, I've got a mining pick recovered from within. I don't know if I want to retain it as combat equipment. Go on.
I wouldn't keep it as combat equipment because I don't think it's up to you. I mean, it's kind of probably all corroded and gross and,
All right.
But it's up to you. I mean, if you want to keep it as a maybe as like found equipment, I think might be okay. Then it doesn't increase your burdens,
So, but nothing worth selling.
No, you're not going to get anything for that. Yeah.
All right. I think that's it then.
Scum, anything else?
I have just 1 gold left, but do I have to stash it, Or does it just disappear if I go on in another incursion? Or can I just keep it?
If it comes from something you found, you can keep it in your found equipment. If it's money, you have to put it in your hoard.
Then I will put it in my hoard.
And make a choice from the list.
I'm realizing I'm sitting on 2 hunt tokens. Too late to cash
didn't
those
spend
out?
them.
Okay,
yeah, you probably should have spent those. If you want to just pop a couple of gold in your hoard, I'm fine with that.
Will do.
Okay.
I was kind of saving those for emergency egress if we needed them.
Right, yeah, totally fair.
I think I'll answer the question, what person, place, or thing in town regularly reminds you of your drive? I think in the graveyard there may be a common tombstone for goblins who died in a war way back. And I think that's like the only link Scum has with his home, with the life he led before. And sometimes at lunch and during the day, and go on the lunch break and get out of town to get some air, sit down in the cemetery and eat his lunch in front of the grave, and just be reminded of his people, their customs that are so different here in Kaldur, and of course be reminded of his father and the fact that he's doing all of this to accomplish what his father couldn't. And that maybe if he doesn't, he'll just be another name on the tombstone.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love it. It's really good. Is that everything, Gary, for Hearthfire?
I've got a hoard one too, I think, then.
Okay,
I have
go for
one
it.
left over. So I'll mark that 0 and click a gold. I think a fun one might be the Omen, especially since that siren thing happened. So maybe as a continuation of the scene where she is up there studying and at the top of the tower, perhaps she has done a sort of reading of the stars. Is there any constellations or planets or anything like that that are in the trophy
That's
lore?
established? No, not yet. I mean,
No?
I mean, probably somewhere, but I don't know offhand. So
Yeah, I was thinking something like, I don't know, like Copernicus rising or something, right? Like,
I've been to that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, occurs, and it's some, I would
Ironic.
imagine,
Yeah.
yeah, some sort of cool looking pattern. Maybe like a crown with like a slash through the middle.
Nice. I would just note that maybe on your equipment or just in your notes or something, because basically if you can work that omen into like if the omen is manifesting in a future scene, you can get a bonus slide die on a hunt or risk roll. So Korkuluk, did you want to take a hoard option since you put some cash in your hoard?
Oh, sorry, let me check that. We'll do a tiny thing here. The what person, place, or thing in town regularly reminds you of your drive? I live beneath the store that sort of sells, like a sutler sort of sells household goods, and has on occasion given me a replacement colander for my battered helmet. And recently, as Fort Duran's growing a little bit on the Prosperity Trade Network, there have been some very nice sort of ceramic teacups arriving on the window, and it's reminding me of this need to find one of Mashiko's descendants.
Nice. Well, that concludes Hearthfire. It has been a number of months since the incident on the Chimera inside the Balindrek here. I imagine you all don't probably see each other very much during this time, being something of companions of necessity. But in any case, it's been a few months, and it's been about 2 years since your last meeting with Patience Davies, Korkuluk. But Patience is getting the gang back together, so to speak. Scum and Ethelinda have never met her, but Korkuluk, you were given instructions, sent word to gather your people and go to Patience's home in Amberay to have a meeting with her.
I've been waiting for this moment for so long.
2 years, in fact. And Patience lives in the Rose District of Amberay, which is like in the world, probably the most like posh, rich, fabulous place to live. She has a townhouse in the Rose District. And the thing about Patience Davies, when she's in Fort Duran, she appears as a woman wearing a very elegant black velvet gown and a porcelain mask over her face. The reason why she wears the porcelain mask over her face is because she's not a woman at all. She is a sentient mass of insects that moves about in a vaguely humanoid shape. And she does her best to present as a person in however she's able to. The group, going way back, has a lot of history with her, has a lot of history with her sister, has a lot of history with her mother, and we're not going to get into that, but in Amberay, this is where she's from. This is where she lives. This is where she has her home. And you were greeted at the townhouse by a servant who is wearing very fine navy blue livery. They have like a literally ashen gray skin, and their eyes have a sort of milky deadness to them, and black veins spider webbing up their neck and by their ears. And the servant says, "Yes, welcome. Mrs. Davies is expecting you." And he beckons you all in. The Rose District of Amberay is really something, as you were sort of making your way through the city. It's probably the first time you've been to Amberay, Scum, if I had to guess. I'm curious, as a paint the scene question, what's the most like decadent thing you saw on the streets of the Rose District before you got to Patience's townhouse?
I think decadent for Scum may not be may not be the same as for humans, and perhaps the fact that a woman offered roses to a man is very inappropriate in goblin culture.
Asta? you probably don't get around here much either, although you have spent a fair amount of time on the rooftops of Ambre.
And I think he's keeping one eye always looking for a certain defenestrated individual.
A defenestrated jerk face noble, yes, the best kind.
Yeah.
What about the decadence?
I think it's more what he doesn't see, and it's spotless almost. Like it's like a museum's version of a city, not an actual lived in place, and that kind of takes him aback.
Very good. Ethelinda, what about you?
I like the idea of there being like chocolate mud baths available.
That is decadent. Yes. Corkaluk.
I brought along that painting by Agino that I believe to be magic, and I'm almost window shopping and finding that this piece I have, while probably precious, is just a pale small work of art, rather meager in comparison to things people just have like hanging off of their front porch or something, just places you wouldn't normally hang a priceless painting, because to them it's just
Nice, good, like it. Keeping this going a little bit. Patience's townhome or townhouse, several stories, probably like 4 stories, very narrow but tall, right? And it's opulent. It has a very like kind of warm, comfortable, old world style to it, right? Lots of dark woods, lots of rich fabrics, damask, that sort of thing. And yet, the mistress of this house is a sentient pile of insects. So the question here is, I'm curious, what do you notice that maybe other people wouldn't notice that indicates that Patience, the mistress of the house, is a sentient pile of insects?
it's the smell coming from the larder, what you can smell drifting out of any region of the house that's involved in cooking is not a smell that humans typically would find appetizing at all.
I like the idea that there's huge plants around that have like really intricate, cool patterns, but if you look at it, they're like bite marks that have been sort of chiseled out of them.
Nice.
Because Scum is so small, he can hear the skittering and chittering of insects beneath Patience's clothes, whereas normal sized humans may not be able to hear it.
Yeah, it's good.
Maybe under the furniture and where you'd expect to find maybe a little bit of dust, there is instead little shed exoskeletons and leavings.
What a pleasant place this is. Patience likes to let her hair down when she's in no danger of being discovered. And the way this looks to you all is you're introduced into her salon, and she's sitting on a beautiful plum velvet fainting couch, kind of in a sort of half fainted, sort of laid out position, except it's just like the dress and then just like the insects crawling and undulating over top of it and underneath it and around it. There's no mask to be found.
You remember that I'm in love with her. I'm going to, as we enter, kind of turn to everyone else and give a chastising, like, mind your manners.
Exactly.
Remember what I told you.
Indeed. And a voice rises up from the general location of where her head would be. And she says, "It's so wonderful to see you again, Korkuluk. And you too, Osto. I don't know your friends, however, but by the look of them, they will do just nicely for the job I intend to propose to you." What do you all do? What are you doing?
She's not going to eat us, is she?
Not the first time we meet.
I'll introduce myself as Starseer Ethelinda.
Mm. But the question is, which stars do you see? The stars above or the stars below?
This day, only the stars above. I hope one day to see them below, though.
It is a fine, warm, bright day in the Rose District, and so this makes sense to me. I have been invited to a party by, how shall I say, a social rival of mine here in the Rose District. This social rival of mine is a person who I would very much like to get some leverage over, perhaps even utterly destroy someday. But they are a clever actor, and I have not yet been able to get my people close enough to him. I was hoping that you might accompany me to this party tonight as my entourage, and once there, earn the trust of my social rival. You would all be very interesting to him. In a place like the Rose District, the beautiful, the fashionable, the conventional, well, they don't stand out at all, do they? But you all represent a motley collection of novelties. In this day and age, in this place, I can't imagine anything more novel than a mannequin, a goblin, a hirsute brute, and an elderly woman. And so, my proposition to you, come with me, enjoy this fate, and worm your way into the trust of this fellow who I love to hate so much. I would be happy to cover all of your expenses and even a little bit extra besides. I will make it worth your while.
I am eager to please as always, and I'll gently caress my little spider-threaded wrist that she's repaired for me.
Indeed. Mechanically, your burdens do not have to be met for this particular little rendezvous.
I am enthusiastic.
I think Scum is mostly hiding behind Osto because he hates bugs.
I think Osto is still trying to figure out what her suit means. People keep calling him it, but I think he'll say, as a brief aside, Mrs. Davies, we encountered an assassin sent by your mother for us a few months back.
Yes. I heard of this. My mother, my dead sister, someone sent an assassin. I suspect it was neither of them. My people are a very, very inconsistent lot, and they certainly don't. Well, let's just say our plans are perhaps a bit complex for people to understand. I expect there will be more murder attempts in the future. Some of them might even be from me. So vast and strange and weird are our machinations. But this is the life you signed up for, is it not?
Wouldn't go that far.
We have to have ways of amusing ourselves. I don't think people realize how difficult it is to be a fabulously wealthy, sentient mass of insects. I mean, there are only so many things you can do for entertainment.
That sounds really rough.
Miss Davies, what do you desire more than anything?
Right now, I desire to destroy Iotho Bruno, and you're going to help me.
I am happy to oblige.
Last time we were at a party in Embere, it didn't end so well. Do we
Oh,
have
yes. Word has reached me of your escapades several years ago. Something to do with the princess and lots of running about in the city. Oh, yes, and murdering my sister. That was a thing that happened as well.
Do we have to worry about any of that coming back to pay us a visit?
Oh, almost certainly.
Okay.
With Patience,
We
before
will.
we begin, can you guide me to anyone who might be able to give a better appraisal of this painting by Agino and tell me its full uses beyond just the decorative ones?
Oh, yes. Leave it with me. I'll provide this service as part of your payment.
Will do.
And so, the party of Iotho Bruno is in just a few days' time. This is a masquerade, something you have experience with in recent months. I am curious. Your expenses are covered, so you don't have to spend any money, but I am curious how you are going to refine yourself. How are you going to get fancied up for this affair? Not sure. How is this going to be different? What do you do? What do you spend the next 2 days doing, getting ready for the party?
I have a question. Does society realize that she is a mass of
No.
insects? Okay.
No, not at all.
Right. So it would be bad form for me to replace my cornhusk gambeson with the glittering mass of beetles.
I don't think that would go over well. Yeah. Well,
Right.
Iotho might have very strange tastes. Who knows? But in general, it'd probably not be a great idea. But she does want you to stand out. So that's that. You'll stand out naturally, but she wants you to really stand out.
All right. I will ask for her assistance with essentially styling up my gambeson to something, more of a padded tuxedo, if you will, something that looks rather dashing, and search about for some ribbons or something to replace the kind of thatched grass that I use for hair.
Nice, love that. Ethelinda, how do you get dolled up?
I finally get to use my sewing kit. Some sort of cool meshing of traditional and fashionista Starseer gown action is what I'm picturing, with maybe
Patches or something?
yeah, and maybe on the back there are these plastic things that jet out and create a pattern of the Starseer Guild behind her or something, and then just a cool mask.
I love it. Osto, bring it to the runway, darling. What do you do?
I think in the last couple months, probably from when they were on the ship, he's really kind of let himself go, I guess, more bare, as it were. His beard's gotten longer, his hair's gotten longer. He's bulked up a bit, and so for this, he's going to cut his hair and trim his beard into a more fashionable style, and maybe with some help from Ethelinda, find something more flattering to wear than he did last time he was here, which was didn't fit him very well.
Oh, very good. I love it. Scum, what about you?
I think maybe ask Korkuluk for fashion advice, and I'm imagining that it wouldn't be very productive as per society's standards, at least. And seeing as Patience is taking care of all the financial aspects of things, I'll just go for the most flamboyant of outfits, the sort of thing that possibly he could sell back after using it. And he also does this in the hope that he may be able to find a patron of sorts at this party to endorse his trade and help him with the monies. So he's really just going for the most garish of outfits with big puffy sleeves. I lack of words, but just imagine
Yeah, I
very
love it.
garish,
I think I have a good like very like to be imagined like a sort of like Tudor era like puffy
exactly
shoulders and things like that, right? Yeah. Good jaunty cap.
You got me thinking. My armor as a colander as a helmet. That's not going to do. Can I get an enormously puffy wig that's like really thickly?
Oh, yes, I think that'd be fabulous. Like a powdered wig on top of your your porcelain head. That'd be great. I love it. You sounds like you're all going to stand out, so it's good. The night of the party is a masquerade ball, by the way, and everyone is expected to bring a mask that, like, your mask should hide your identity, even though everyone knows who you are, but you're supposed to notionally hide your identity. And it should give a clue as to who you are, even though everyone already will know who you are. This is the style, right? So when you're going out mask shopping, I'm curious, what does your mask look like that it hides your identity, but also gives a clue as to who you are?
I think Scum doesn't go mask shopping. He goes stripping a piece of bark from a tree and makes 2 holes in it. And it's just the most simple things, the simplest of things, so that despite the garish outfit, people can just see he's a craftsman at heart.
Nice.
Instead of a mask, can I spray paint my face?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fine.
And then I think it'll just be like constellations, and the eyes will particularly be like a connecting front for some of the patterning. Yeah, a lot of stars. Yeah.
Austin.
I think Osto's mask is kind of like a generic human male shaped face, but it has long, bare teeth.
Korkuluk.
Mine's a bit of the clockwork beast, sort of little springs and hinges that articulated in a way that it doesn't really need. Shows that I'm not quite a real boy.
Nice. I love it. Good. The party, there is a sort of line to get into Eotho's villa, or his manor, really like a manor house. Although it's probably more accurately described as it's in the city, so it's probably more of a mansion, I suppose. But in any case, you're sort of gathering in a courtyard, and everyone's sort of filing into this vast multi-winged home in the Rose District. Eotho is fabulously, unimaginably wealthy. Everyone around you clearly has money, or at least the means to dress in finery and to even be invited to this party. Patience is with you. She has her porcelain mask on again. And she has her hood and gown, billowy, always black, billowy, and with just some gold jewelry, kind of at her throat. And you're behind her, maybe occasionally watching your step so as not to step on a beetle or a cockroach that kind of goes astray from under the hem of her gown. And she presents her invitation. She says you're all with her. And you enter into this extraordinary hall, this ballroom. Some more paint the scene questions. I'm really loving that today. What do we see here in the ballroom that shows that Eotho has more money than like anyone should have, like just ultra decadence, like beyond. Think grand, big. He wants to make an impression. It's a shock and awe display of wealth.
Is this still in the Rose District?
It is.
I think there's like a giant rose that is made up of really tiny, small diamonds, and some of them are colored red at the tops, and all these different kind of dyes. It probably even like ruins the purity of some of the diamonds, but it's for the effect.
Masquerade balls in a different realm, they have albino peacocks. He has an albino ostrich.
Very good, very good. Duquesne would be very upset to be showed up like this.
I think each glass that the caterers are carrying around has in the bottom of the drink a diamond, like a sizable diamond.
Very nice.
I think the food is what stands out the most for Scum, because there are types of food that are either supposedly extinct or just very hard to find, and all of it is just lying there right for the taking.
We're going to wrap a little early because Arthur has to go, so we'll pick up next week. But I do want to just end with a couple of things. The first is that there is a set goal here. The set goal is discover what Eotho needs help with. Let me change it. I kind of haven't formalized it yet. It's better put this way. Discover a way to earn Eotho's trust. I like that better. And Eotho eventually shows up. Some trumpeters let out a rousing sort of fanfare to announce him. And these large, I mean quite large, double doors are pushed open by a pair of servants. And Eotho is carried out into the ballroom. He is a very large man. Obese does not adequately capture it. He is so big that he is actually about 7 feet wide. You can't see his legs or feet. you just see his arms kind of that look comically small, and his head. And it's also unclear if he's wearing much clothing. His body is just perfectly egg smooth. And he has a few handsome male attendants who are on this platform with him. They are all wearing masks that are I don't know. Their masks are just basically like half masks that show off the beauty of their face, but technically are still masks, right? In that they just cover part of it. And the platform is being carried on the shoulders of a number of powerfully muscular servants wearing bull masks. And Iotho has a sort of like stylized cow mask on his face, and they are being carried into the ballroom. And Iotho just says, I want to welcome you all to this fabulous affair. I think we're going to get up to something very, very exciting tonight. And that's where we'll end. Stars and wishes.
I like that Mr. Whittle is out there somewhere plotting.
I think oh, sorry, Brian.
That's right. Go ahead. Good.
I was just going to say that Ethelinda, I think, is really coming along as a character. We're getting more and more bits about her, and it's really fun to see how you're playing her, Fraser. Like this sort of, I like the fact that you use the grief. What was the term? Grief-stricken poets part that we hadn't really seen so far. Yeah, I think it was very creative way of how you helped everyone get out of the Balendreke. That was fun. So my wish, I'd say this is shaping up to be a very social incursion, and I'm very eager to see how that plays out, especially since our burdens don't have to be met. So I'm very curious to see what it's like.
Star, for just the ending of the last incursion, that was a fun scene, and a bit of mayhem in some water was exciting. And also to everyone for letting me keep Naral's bestiary. Thank you for sharing your bounty. Wishes, I look forward to seeing how our last trip to Amberay comes back to pay a visit.
I have one other star. It would be the poem at the end of the Balendreke incursion. I thought it was just very neat.
Yeah, I was thinking, I like how everybody is again really creative and using all the parts of their character sheets to like put fiction into play. Like when you were like, well, is it possible that I'm not detected because I'm infected? That was really fun. And it seems like there's all these like subtle nods to past things that you guys have done, as well as conditions on the character sheet. It seems like maybe this is, I think it's probably the first game that I've played where all parts of the character sheet are constantly coming into play in the fiction, I think, and that's really fun to see. And then another star is just that, again, it feels like we did so much fiction in a short time, just like the previous session, and everyone seems really on the ball and fun. So it's a good time. Wish just, I guess, to see what's up with the siren and the blood and the and the omen action.
One more thing, two. It's good to be back in the cold chitinous embrace of Patience Davies. And with Belly of the Beast, I don't remember if there was a poem that opened it, but the poem closed it. And to my experience with Trophy, it's the only time I've seen a poem close an incursion.
Yeah, it's like the second verse of the same poem. Like there's the first parts in the beginning and the second parts at the end.
Got it. To me, it was just, that's interesting. I want to revisit that just on my own for writing things. I thought that was pretty intriguing. So it's, I don't know, maybe not a wish per se, but a thing I will be looking at in the future and thinking.
It's a super well written incursion. It's really, really good. Like it hits so many cool things in a pretty slim package, I think. So my stars, I also really enjoyed the ending of From the Belly of the Beast. I liked the sort of tough decisions that were being made in the moment. I always enjoy seeing just a little bit more of the characters via Hearthfire, just getting those little touches, those little moments of sort of like character development are really fun to watch. And I'm glad we got to do Patience, or bring Patience back in and kind of keep that through line of the story going. I am very, as a wish, I'm really looking forward to sort of bringing in some threads from past sessions into this little setup we've got going right now, because there are so many things on the table that sort of could like appear here, right? And I thematically and sort of like plot point wise as well. I love the character of Yotho. It's a character I've used in other things. I just could airdrop him whenever, and he's fabulously horrible. And I love to see how the characters interact with him. And freeing you of the burdens was something I'm also very excited to see how that goes, because I feel like it's going to change how you play in a way that may be particularly suited for this little incursion that we're doing. And so I'll be excited to see how that plays out as well. So, and yeah, I think that's all I've got though. Were there any other stars and wishes? Did I miss anybody? Are we all good? Okay. Well, in that case, we are set. I look forward to seeing you all next time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.